All right, Mrs. Farnworth, I'm back again. So now we are on day 3. So I'm going to take you through how to actually take those questions that you started with and now turn that into some research. We're going to start looking up information and gathering it together. So we want to make sure that we are paraphrasing or that we are giving a direct quote. It's okay to use those direct quotes as long as we don't rely too heavily on them. What we want to do most of the time is try to put things in our own words. So we're going to do our best at that. Okay. If you'll take a look at my worksheet, I have the Bureau of Labor Statistics. What you're going to do is open up that website, go exactly to this link, and then type in the career that you're searching for, and you should be able to find something. Okay, so I have librarians here. I'm at that link. Same thing with ONET. You're going to search for that career, and you should be able to find plenty of information on it. And then you have a third website that hopefully you have found. If you've not found one yet, that's okay. You're going to need to. So do some searching, find a third website. For that third website, you need to use the CRAPP model, the one that we used together on Tuesday to evaluate that source to find out if it's a good one. Once you do evaluate that source, then you need to actually explain why that source is credible based on the method that we're using. So I have, for my source, this is one of the ones that I actually evaluated with you. So, and my model on Tuesday. The author of the article has written several books on career planning, job searching, and civil service test preparation. The website also does a good job of giving many good details about this career. So I have told you why it has authority, okay, why I can trust the author herself, and also the fact that I have reliable information, enough details that are going to help me. Those are two things that we can look at when we're evaluating. Okay. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take your questions from your question page and you're going to put them into your source notes here. So it says, write your notes on the lines below, paraphrase and avoid copying huge blocks of text. Okay, we want to try to put things in our own words as much as we can. If it is something that we feel like we just cannot figure out a way to put it in our own words, that's okay, as long as we don't do it too much. And if that's happening, you need to make sure you're using direct quotations. Now, when I gave this sheet to you, these are all going to be blank. The only reason they're in there for me is because I've already looked at my sources and I know where my notes are going to come from. So I'm going to make it look more like yours does. That way it makes more sense to you. I'm going to kind of number these sources for myself because you notice this is numbered up here, 1, 2, 3. So anytime I refer to source 1, I am actually talking about the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. If I'm talking about source 2, that's ONET online, and my third source is the one that I've chosen myself. My first question from my question page was, what duties does a librarian's job include? So I'm going to start with my first source, and I'm going to kind of flip down here, and it says, what do librarians do? Librarians help people find information and conduct research for personal and professional use. Well, that's a lot of stuff. But actually, if I click right here, what do librarians do? Man, there's like a list that it generates for me. So let's see, create and use databases of library materials, organize library materials so they're easy to find, help library patrons conduct research. Okay, so I see that there are some things about organizing materials and organizing resources. So I'm going to say, let's see, create, I have that database thought in there, to create databases and organizes materials. This is coming from source 1. Creates, okay. Let's see, I have teach classes about information resources, research computers. So I'm thinking, it sounds like librarians work a lot with research and teaching how to locate resources for patrons. So that's what I'm going to write down here. Teaches research and information skills to patrons and students. Okay. And so let's see, maybe I'm going to go ahead and move to source 2. Yes, there's lots of things I can put there, and I definitely feel like I'm going to come back to some of that. But all I'm trying to do now is get a list of the things I want to include and try as much as I can to put them in my own words. Okay. So tasks, check books out in a library, teach library patrons basic computer skills. So this one says information and research skills. They're actually talking about searching databases and computer skills. All right, so I'm going to put for source 2 here, check books in and out of a library. I know that librarians call that circulation. So I'm actually going to use that word, even though it's not in that sentence. I'm going to say keeps account, or keeps track of, keeps account of circulation of books in a library. Okay. And let's see, we also have more information about teaching research skills, searching for standard reference materials, including online sources and the internet, to answer patrons' reference questions. Gosh, that's like really specific. And it does have to do with research. However, I am going to do a little direct quoting here. Let's see. So I'm going to say, no, I don't like that. I'm going to go back to my first source because I really felt like they did a good job of saying this better than I can. Help people find information and conduct research. I really like this particular phrase. And so I don't agree with copying and pasting things, but I do think it's okay to use a quote here and there as long as you're not overdoing it. So one quote is fine. But make sure that most of what you're doing is put in your own words as much as possible. Okay, so help people, this was from my first source, find information and conduct research for personal and professional use. Okay. All right. And then I have this stuff about circulation. What else? Standard reference materials. So not just research, but they teach how to locate, because that's really about locating information. Maybe teaches patrons, that's often what we call people who come visit the library, patrons about locating information and resources. Okay. All right. And then I want to look at my third source as well. Let's see. There's a lot of duties and responsibilities listed here. I see things about teach a variety of skills, understand general library practices, respond to requests in person, over the phone, or via email to answer questions and locate information. Ooh, I like that. Because librarians don't just work with all these books and research, they also answer questions, a lot of questions. Okay, so answers questions about information. And it says in person, over the phone, via email. That's just in a variety of ways, right? So answers questions about information to patrons in a variety of ways. Okay. All right. So there, I don't know why my quotes are funny there. There I've kind of shown you what you're supposed to do. You're going to tell me what source you got it from, what does it say about it, and write some notes about what you found, okay? Now we're going to go down to my next question, which is what is the salary range for different types of librarians? I'm going to go back to source one again. So here we are in source one. I'm going to look at pay. Okay, wow, there's a lot of information about pay. The median annual wage. Now I'm going to say when you start looking at pay, you're going to see that word median a lot. All that really means is if you listed all the different salaries that people had, median would be the one that's in the exact middle position. Okay, so it's not really the average, it's the one that's in the exact middle. Okay, so I guess we could start with that. Let's see. Median wages. Oh, they have different categories here. So we have colleges, universities, professional schools. That one is $64,750. Now here's the thing. Yes, you know, it is not plagiarizing to use facts and figures from a website. So obviously I can't like paraphrase a number. Okay, so I am going to use that number. I'm not even going to put direct quotes around it because that's a completely legitimate way to cite it. So as long as I am saying I got this from this particular source, I'm going to cite that source in my final product, so in my slideshow, and I'm also going to cite it at the end of my slideshow. You should be okay. Okay, so the salary range, we're going to start with these colleges, median wages, colleges, universities, and professional schools is $64,750 per year. I might say annually or per year. Okay. Median wages for in elementary and secondary schools is 940. Okay. Now let's see. Now there's some other interesting things we can glean from this. I see this says kind of tells where the median compares to other jobs, and you could put a comparison there. You know, you could discuss how we could do some math here and discuss how much more librarians make than the median of all occupations in the United States. So that might be a good something to do. So I might make a note here that I'm going to put a comparison, and I might say median wage for all U.S. occupations is $39, let's say 10, which is, you know, what, $10,000 lower annually. We'll just do some math here. 10,000 annually less than I'm just going to say librarians. Okay, and that's the bottom scale there. Then librarians, curators, and archivists from that middle part of the graph there. Okay. Okay. And then we're going to go to our next source. So we have source 2. We want to look for pay this time. Let's look here. Job of wages. All right. And here we have wages and employment trends. Median wages, $59,500. And that's an interest. So this is just telling us the flat out median wage of all. Wage of all librarians in the U.S. is $1.59. I know I'm not putting my dollar signs there. I'm honestly just saving some time, but I could go back and put my dollar signs in to make it a little nicer, a little more clear for me when I go back to it later. And this one came from source 2. It's very important that I'm making sure I keep this organized so that when I discuss this data later and put it all together in my presentation, I know where I'm getting everything. So now I'm going to go to source 3, and we're going to go down to salary here. Oh, and they've got kind of an interesting comparison here. They've got the median, which is the same as you notice from the source 2, but they have top 10 annual salary and bottom 10%. So I'm going to kind of combine this together, and I'm going to say librarians' salaries can range from 34.30 to 93.050. And I think this probably is dependent upon the type, because we just found out that depending on where you're working, your salary is going to be different. So depending upon type of librarian. Okay, so sorry, itchy nose. Anyway, I could find some more there, but I'm going to stop there because what I want you to do now is I want you to start doing with this with your question. So you're going to take each question to start. Take each question from your question page, and you are going to copy and paste that question right into the question spot. Then you're going to find individual pieces of information that's going to help you answer that question. And for each piece of information you find, you are actually going to write down what source you got it from. So it's either 1, 2, or 3. So that then when you cite it later, you will know where it came from. Keep in mind, when you get to your final product, you absolutely have to cite all 3 of your sources. That means you have to use all 3 of your sources. So you can't just use 1 and 2. You have to use that 3rd source that you found as well. Otherwise, why did we find it, right? So I'm going to let you go ahead and get started. I am going to, let you get started. If you have any questions, again, email me. It's lfarnworth@perryschools.org, or ask your teacher, and, I can help you out. Thanks.